You're not depressed in the clinical sense, you're just numb, like someone turned down the volume on your entire emotional range, and now everything feels muted, distant, like you're watching your own life happen from behind thick glass and you can't remember the last time something actually moved you. Nothing's wrong. Technically, everything is fine. You have what you need, people around you, things to do. But none of it feels like anything, and that emptiness is almost worse than actual pain because at least pain confirms you're still capable of feeling something real. You scroll through your phone looking for something that will make you feel alive. Some post, some video, some distraction that will break through the fog. But 5 hours disappear and you're still empty, still searching, still hoping the next click will be the one that finally makes you feel something other than this low-grade nothingness that's become your baseline. You used to have things that excited you, hobbies, interests, dreams that felt real and worth chasing. But somewhere along the way they all started feeling pointless. And now, when you try to do the things you used to love, they just feel like obligations, like you're going through the motions of being a person who has interests, but the actual spark that made those things meaningful is just gone. People ask what's wrong and you say nothing because nothing is wrong. That's the whole problem. There's no reason for you to feel this empty, no trauma you can point to, no crisis you can blame, just this persistent sense that life is happening around you but not to you. Like you're a passenger in your own existence watching everyone else experience things you can't access anymore. You don't remember when it started. It wasn't a single moment. It was a slow fade, like someone gradually dimming the lights on your ability to care about anything. And by the time you noticed, it was already too late. You were already living in this gray zone where nothing feels good enough to pursue, but nothing feels bad enough to change. Food doesn't taste like it used to. Music doesn't hit the same. Conversations feel performative, like you're saying the right words and making the right expressions, but none of it is connected to anything real inside you. You're just executing the social script of being a functioning person, while feeling absolutely nothing underneath. You're tired, but you can't sleep. You're hungry, but nothing sounds good. You're lonely, but being around people exhausts you. And all of it just reinforces this sense that something fundamental is broken in the way you interface with reality. Like everyone else got the manual on how to enjoy being alive, and you're just faking it, hoping nobody notices you have no idea what you're doing. The worst part is that you're succeeding at life on paper. You're doing the things you're supposed to do. Checking the boxes, meeting the expectations, but none of it translates into actual satisfaction or meaning. It's just items on a list that you complete and then immediately forget about because completion doesn't bring the sense of accomplishment. It's supposed to bring just a brief relief that it's over, followed by the question of what's next. You've tried everything: meditation, exercise, therapy, new hobbies, changing your routine, reading self-help books, watching motivational videos, and some of it helps for a few days or weeks, but then you're right back here in this flatness, this inability to feel things proportionally to their importance, like your emotional thermostat is stuck and nothing can heat you up or cool you down. Everything just exists at the same temperature of vaguely unsatisfying. The numbness started as protection, as a way to survive something that felt overwhelming, and your brain did exactly what it was supposed to do. It turned down the volume on everything so that the painful things would hurt less. But the problem with that mechanism is that it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't just turn down the bad feelings, it turns down all feelings, and now you're living in this emotional flatland where nothing reaches you the way it's supposed to. You weren't born like this. You were a kid who felt things intensely, who got excited about small things, who could spend hours absorbed in imagination and play. But somewhere along the way you learned that feeling things fully was dangerous, that caring too much meant getting hurt too much, that it was safer to expect nothing so you couldn't be disappointed. So you started protecting yourself by not investing, by keeping everything at arm's length, by treating life like something you observe rather than something you participate in. And at first it worked. It kept you safe from the big hurts. But it also locked you out of the big joys, and now you're trapped in this middle zone where nothing can really hurt you, but nothing can really help you either. The boredom you feel isn't about lacking things to do. It's about lacking the capacity to be present with whatever you're doing. You're always somewhere else in your head, analyzing, judging, wondering if this is really it, if this is what life is supposed to feel like, and that constant meta-awareness prevents you from ever fully sinking into any experience. You're addicted to the idea that there's something more, something better, something that will finally make you feel the way you think you're supposed to feel. So you keep seeking, keep scrolling, keep searching, but the seeking itself is what's keeping you from finding anything, because you're so busy looking for the next thing that you can't actually be with the thing that's right in front of you. The emptiness you feel is actually grief. It's the accumulated weight of all the times you had to shut down your emotions to survive, all the times you weren't allowed to be upset or excited or scared, all the times you learned that your feelings were too much or not enough or just wrong, and instead of processing those moments you just stacked them up inside and built a wall around them, and now that wall is so thick that nothing can get in and nothing can get out. You think you want to feel happy, but what you actually want is to feel anything with full intensity, to cry and actually release something, to laugh and actually feel joy, to be angry and actually feel the power of that anger, instead of this watered-down version of every emotion that barely registers. The reason everything feels boring is because you're not actually experiencing anything. You're experiencing your thoughts about things, your judgments about whether something is worth your attention, your analysis of whether this moment measures up to some imagined standard, and all of that mental activity creates a buffer between you and direct experience. You've forgotten how to be in your body, how to feel sensations without immediately labeling them as good or bad, how to be present with what is, instead of constantly comparing it to what should be, and that forgetting is what's making everything feel so flat. Start with something small, something you do every day without thinking, like drinking water, or feeling the sun on your face, or noticing your breath. And instead of doing it while thinking about something else, just do it. Just be there with the sensation without trying to make it mean something or feel a certain way. The feeling will come back slowly, not all at once, not in some dramatic breakthrough moment, but in tiny increments of actually being present, actually letting yourself feel the texture of your own life, without immediately judging it as not enough. You're not broken, you're protected, and the protection that once kept you safe is now keeping you numb, and you have the power to start dismantling that protection one small moment of presence at a time. Stop waiting for something big to happen, for some external event, to finally make you feel alive, because that's not how it works. Aliveness isn't something that happens to you, it's something you choose by showing up fully to the small, unremarkable moments that make up most of your life. The boredom is a message that you've been avoiding yourself. That you've been running from the feelings you didn't want to feel by refusing to feel anything at all. And the only way out is through. The only way to feel good again is to be willing to feel bad first. To let the grief move. To let the anger surface. To let whatever's been frozen inside you start to thaw, even if it hurts. You think you want your life to change, but what you actually want is to change the way you're living your life, to stop observing and start participating, to stop performing and start experiencing, to stop asking if this is enough and just be with what is. Everything feels boring because you're boring yourself by refusing to show up, by keeping one foot out the door, by treating every moment as something to get through rather than something to be with. And that pattern will continue until you decide it won't. Until you choose presence over protection, even when presence feels uncomfortable or awkward or like nothing special is happening.